What if I told you? The ones who smile at you every day are quietly hoping you crash. Not everyone around you wants you to win. Truth is, some are terrified of it. So here's how you spot them, before they stab you in the back. You ever feel like something's off, but you can't quite place it? That weird energy around someone. No arguments, no yelling, yet you walk away feeling drained, like they suck the life right out of you. You're kind, you're patient, you give them the benefit of the doubt, and still, you walk out of those conversations feeling smaller, weaker, lost. And the worst part? You go back, again and again. You know something's wrong, but you play dumb. You smile, you act like you don't see it. But what if I told you it's not a coincidence? What if I told you they're pretending to support you while secretly loathing every step you take toward success? They can't stand your light, so they do what cowards do, move in silence, subtle, strategic, chipping away at you, one fake smile at a time. And they know exactly what they're doing. You don't. Because you're too busy playing peacekeeper, playing evolved, trying to be the better person. Meanwhile, their compliments drip with poison, their concern, a mask. And maybe, just maybe, you keep attracting saboteurs because deep down, you refuse to see the truth, because facing the truth means losing the illusion, and you'd rather fake a connection than confront the abyss of betrayal. But enough. Enough of justifying their malice. Enough of mistaking manipulation for love. Enough of settling for emotional crumbs, because you're scared of being alone. But let me be clear, this ain't for those looking for comfort. This is for the ones done being played, for the ones tired of being drained by people who were supposed to lift them. It's for the ones who want to see the mask, rip it off, and finally cut that quiet, soul-sucking cycle for good. Because keeping these people in your life, that's not kindness. That's self-sabotage, plain and brutal. If you've ever felt it, felt the suspicion clawing at your gut, but couldn't bring yourself to face it. If you're surrounded by people who say all the right things, but you feel they want you to fall, this is for you, not to coddle, to wake you up. See, it's easy, too easy, to believe the enemy is far away. That betrayal comes loud, messy, obvious. But no, the real threat? It's the one that hugs you and cuts you with a smile. The one that talks sweet and bleeds you dry. Carl Jung called it the projection of the shadow. You know what that means? It means people who don't have the guts to face their own darkness, their envy, their bitterness, their fear of being left behind. They throw it all onto you. They can't handle their own demons, so they feed them your light. They'll tear you down, but dress it up like concern. They'll make it look like a joke, a compliment, a casual remark. It's the coworker who calls you lucky with that smug little grin, but never respects the grind behind your wins. It's the relative who says you've changed, like that's a crime, like growth is something to feel bad about. It's the friend who's cool with your progress until it makes them look small. They won't come at you head on. They can't. So they go quiet, calculated, subtle. They pretend to love you, and that's when the real damage begins. 'Cause now you start questioning yourself. You wonder, am I being too sensitive? Am I imagining this? No, you're not. You're seeing it. You just don't want to admit it, because admitting it means facing a brutal truth. That someone close, someone you trusted, might be your emotional executioner. And here's the cruelest twist. They'll play the victim. The moment you pull away, they flip the script. You've changed. You're cold. You're distant. Suddenly you become the bad guy for choosing peace over poison. This isn't love. This isn't support. This is control. This is emotional vampirism dressed up as empathy. But why? Why do you let it happen? Why do you tolerate this charade again and again? Because maybe, just maybe, there's a part of you that needs it. A part that's grown comfortable in the pain. Familiarity, even when it's toxic, is still familiar. And that's what we'll tear into next. We're gonna flip the mirror. No lies, no mercy, just truth. What do these people reflect back about you? Why, on some deep, hidden level, do you keep letting them in? If you're feeling this, now listen. It's easy to point the finger, to call them toxic, fake, envious. But Carl Jung warned us, everything that irritates us in others holds the key to ourselves. The enemy's not just out there. If you're a magnet for emotional leeches, if they keep showing up, keep draining you, keep wrapping sabotage in soft words, then ask the real question. Why? There's a part of you that allows it. A part that invites it. Not out of malice, not out of weakness, but out of trauma, out of habit, out of the unconscious patterns you never knew were driving the show. Patterns. Deep, silent ones. Maybe you were raised to always be available, always understanding, always the nice one. Maybe, since you were small, you were taught that love had a price. And the cost was you. You got used to pain wrapped in affection. So now, without even knowing it, you chase that same story, again and again. You attract people who reinforce it, who confirm the lie that your worth is measured in self-sacrifice. These fake supporters? They're mirrors. They reflect how much you still don't stand your ground, how scared you are to upset anyone, how guilty you feel just for saying no. And until you see this, you'll keep calling your cage a connection. You'll keep mistaking submission for loyalty. You'll keep believing that staying silent is strength, when really, it's slow suicide. Jung said the encounter with oneself is the one thing we spend our whole lives avoiding. And maybe that's why you cling to these people. Because as long as you're focused on their lies, you never have to face your own. As long as you're pointing out their poison, you don't have to feel the wound inside you that keeps letting it in. But here's the truth you've been dodging. These relationships, they won't change. They exist to force you to change. They stop manipulating. Only when you stop submitting, when you stop pretending you have no say, and finally take back your power and walk away. But before you leave, you need to understand the real cost of staying. And that is what we're diving into next. The invisible damage, the kind that doesn't scream, doesn't leave bruises, but it's there, in your body, in your mind, in your soul. Because sometimes, you don't need to be insulted to be wounded. You don't need to be attacked to be destroyed. Sometimes, what's killing you is so quiet, you don't hear it till it's too late. It's not the loud things that break you, it's what's not seen, not said, not named. Emotional draining doesn't shout. It whispers, it hides, in glances that judge you in silence, in conversations where the words seem warm, but the energy underneath, ice cold. It's the presence of someone who claims to love you, but needs you to shrink. That's the danger. They don't take from you all at once. They chip away at you, slow, First, they make you doubt a decision, then your confidence, then your voice. And before you know it, you're second-guessing everything. You're walking on eggshells. You're reshaping yourself so you don't upset them. Then one day, you wake up and you feel nothing. Tired, empty, anxious for no reason, sad without cause. Because your energy, it's gone. And you didn't even notice when it left. This kind of attack, it doesn't just hit your emotions. It hits your mind, your body, your sense of self. You start to feel off. Like something's wrong, but you can't name it. You start comparing yourself, blaming yourself, thinking maybe you're just too sensitive, too dramatic, too weak. But you're not. You're under attack. A silent, invisible psychological assault. Jung talked about this. About the energy fields created in every human connection. We don't just exchange words, we exchange psychic force. And when you link yourself to someone who envies you, who resents your light, who projects their darkness onto you, their energy infects yours. And no matter how much you explain it away, no matter how much you justify or try to understand, your body knows, your intuition knows, your soul knows. But most people, they ignore it. They adapt. They fake the smile. They keep the peace with the very person hoping they fall. Because facing that truth hurts. Admitting someone you loved is draining your life, that takes courage. And courage is exactly what we're stepping into now. What you'll need to break this cycle isn't comfort, it's fire. In the next part, we'll dive into what happens the moment the pattern finally reveals itself. When the mask slips, when the illusion shatters. And from that moment on, what you choose to do defines you. Break the illusion. That moment when you finally see who's been sabotaging you. It hits like a snap. Sharp, cold, real. It hurts, but it frees you. The curtain falls. The theater ends. And suddenly, everything clicks. The compliments that always stung. The advice that disguised criticism. That weight. That endless, invisible debt. How no matter what you did, it was never enough. And you see it now. The pattern. Clear. Undeniable. But that's only the first blow. The second? What the hell do you do with this truth? This is where most people stop. Paralyzed. Because seeing is hard. But acting? Acting takes courage, strength, positioning. And it's not easy when the person wearing the mask is someone you love, someone you live with, someone who's shared important moments, someone who's helped you before. And that help becomes the leash. You tell yourself you can't walk away, but you can, and you must. Recognizing the pattern is worthless if you don't follow it with action. You can read every book, spend years in therapy, watch every video like this one. But if you still let this person in, still let them talk you down, still give them space in your mind, nothing changes. Knowledge without action, that's just distraction. Intellectual theater. Carl Jung said, "You do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." That's the game. It's not about fantasizing freedom. It's about facing the rot and cutting it out. Recognizing toxicity is only step one. Now comes step two. Set boundaries and hold them. But get ready, because when you finally stand up, these people, they won't go quietly. They'll guilt you, blame you, gaslight you. You're ungrateful. You've changed. you're cold. And next, they know they're losing control over you, and they'll fight for every last inch. That's where the real test begins. Will you fold under the weight of guilt? Will you give in to the emotional blackmail? Will you crawl back to the same cycle just to avoid being labeled harsh? Or will you finally do what you should have done long ago? Protect your energy, like it's your life, because it is. Yes, it'll hurt. Yes, it's hard. But you know what hurts more? Staying stuck, spinning in the same old circle, living the same pain over and over, with new names, new faces, same hell. In the next part, I'll show you how to end this for good, how to walk away without guilt, how to regain your strength without getting sucked into their emotional games. Because some people need you to stay weak, but it's time you learn to protect yourself, not out of revenge, but out of self-love. Now listen closely. Learning to protect yourself starts with one brutal truth: breaking away from someone who's hurting you. It's one of the hardest choices you'll ever make, not because you think they'll change, you already know they won't, but because deep down you've been conditioned to believe that walking away makes you selfish, that forgiving is always noble, that enduring anything is maturity. Lies. Here's what they don't tell you. Enduring what breaks you doesn't make you evolved. It makes you a partner in your own destruction. Distancing yourself isn't weakness, it's self-preservation. It's waking up to the truth that not every bond deserves to be kept. Some ties aren't bridges, they're chains. Some relationships don't help you grow. They trap you, keep you stuck, and you owe nothing to those who drain you. Loyalty is not servitude. Love is never one-sided. Carl Jung said, "We heal only when we stop resisting our own process of individuation." This process, this becoming who you truly are, it demands breakups. It requires you to rip up those silent pacts you've made with people who want to keep you small. It's time to abandon that fear of seeming cold and start protecting your energy with the same intensity you protect those you love. Because you need to finally include yourself in that equation. But how do you do it? How do you actually start? It begins with emotional distancing. Stop justifying yourself. Stop trying to fix what's already broken. This person knows what they're doing. They just didn't think you'd ever wake up. And when you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, when you stop playing their game, their power over you fades. Silence becomes your most potent weapon, more powerful than any speech. Next, set clear boundaries. You don't have to cut contact immediately. Maybe this person is family. Maybe they're in your professional or social circle. That's fine. But that doesn't mean you need to keep exposing yourself emotionally. Learn to shield your energy. Learn to protect what's yours. Don't fall for their false affection again. And yes, prepare for loneliness. It's going to hit you hard, and it's scary. But it also heals. Because in that emptiness left by these toxic people, something new will emerge. Your strength, your authenticity, your autonomy. When you step away from those who drain you, you reconnect with yourself. But beware, distancing is only half the battle. The real transformation happens afterward. What you fill that empty space with determines whether you rise or fall. And that's exactly what we're going to explore now. The silence you leave and the impact it has. Because when you leave the scene, they have to face what you've been sustaining all along. And that's when everything changes. When you finally step away, something changes. And it's not just inside of you. The silence you leave behind, it echoes. It echoes in the minds of those who used you as their mirror, their shield, their emotional crutch. And that echo? It's unbearable. For those who never learned to face their own emptiness, suddenly you're gone, and they have no one left to absorb their projections, no one to carry their guilt, no one to bear the responsibility that was never yours. Suddenly, the game ends, and the other person? They find themselves forced to face what they've avoided, themselves. That's what your absence reveals. Because absence, it's more powerful than confrontation. When you disappear, the other is left to confront what they've been hiding behind your presence. And then, the truth hits them like a freight train. Love was control. Affection was possession. Admiration was envy. The bond, a prison. But here's the thing. This process, it's not just about them. It's about you. It's about reclaiming your energy, rebuilding your identity, and breaking free from the role you were forced to play. When you choose to leave these draining relationships, you begin to inhabit your own life. More aware, you start to say no, without guilt. You start listening to yourself, prioritizing yourself, trusting your intuition again. That voice you always knew was there, but ignored, out of fear of being too harsh. The truth? You owe nothing to those who tried to diminish you. What you owe is to yourself: respect, clarity, strength. From the moment you stop dancing that dance of emotional manipulation, you regain control. You free yourself. So, if this video resonated with you, leave a comment. Tell me, when did the penny drop for you? When did you realize someone close to you was draining you? Sharing your story can help others trapped in this invisible cycle. Let's transform this space into a place of awareness, not complicit silence. And if this resonated with you, don't stop here. The next video is coming. Important. Very important. Keep watching, because the process of liberation has started. But it's far from over. You deserve to see it through to the end. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. And remember this: stepping out of your comfort zone, it may hurt, but staying in it, that costs you your soul. Choose the discomfort of truth. Choose your freedom. See you in the next video.